Thank you. Sean Garren with Environment America. I wanted to, first of all, thank you and the President for your focus on renewable energy and your continued support there. You answered the clean coal question, but I think you only covered about half of the problem there. So obviously carbon capture and sequestration can handle some of the emissions, but how do you move? Well, I don't see how you would ever make coal clean in terms of how we actually get it, so how we get it from the ground, mining purposes, and then with hydraulic fracturing and the demonstrated threat to our drinking water, how do we make that part of the equation clean, or how do we and how fast can we move away from fossil fuels completely?
Right. I think, yes, you raise an important point. The ability to extract fossil fuel in a safe and clean way is part of the entire equation. And certainly there are practices like mountaintop removal that could have a profound impact on the environment. And so that's in the jurisdiction of the EPA, and that's certainly a concern. There are certain mining practices also that could have severe environmental impacts, and there are regulations in the federal government that have to address those things, because in the process of mining, in the process of extracting fossil fuels, there can be severe environmental problems, and so the regulatory process is to allow it so that you don't wreak havoc. I mean, having lived for 3 or 4 months, 4.5 months, on a Gulf spill issue, in the process of helping stop that leak, it became very clear that actually for very little money, but more thought and better processes, you can actually make it much safer. In terms of natural gas and the fracking, there's similar things. Where, as an example, what you need to do is that the gas sources are actually below the water tables. And so what you need to do as you try to access those gas sources to make sure that the fluids you use to frack don't get into the freshwater supplies. That's actually a technology that we know about, and we have to make sure it's done correctly. We have to make sure in the fluids you use that you recover them, you process them, you just can't simply dump them, because that, and again, goes out to the water table. But these are things, so it can be done safely, it has to be done safely, okay, and one can do that, and so I think the Department of Energy, we have a great deal of expertise how fluid moves around the rocks. We need to develop this for carbon capture and sequestration. We need to do this for geological storage of radioactive material, all sorts of reasons. And I happily found out we have a lot of expertise in our ability to do engineering calculations and simulations of how this stuff works. So all those things can be brought to help the U.S. In deep water drilling and in fracking for the safety, the environmental impacts.